Hello and welcome to this session entitled Contract Formation, Implied Terms, Good Faith and Exclusion Clauses with me, Keith Markham. Let's have a look straight away at the agenda and see what this session holds for us in store, has for us in store. Quite a wide-ranging agenda, as you will already have gathered from the title. So we begin with a couple of cases to do with contract formation. So the first case is to do with whether a contract has been formed orally or not, and the big issue with regard to that, as you would expect, is whether there was intention to create illegal relations. We'll then go on to look at another case that also is around an exchange of emails, and again, whether there was an intention to create legal relations or not, and also elements about agreement to agree, and so on. So those are our first two cases. We'll then go on to talk about the issue of implied terms, a perennial favourite for the courts to look at in practice. And ultimately, we will have a brief overview of the law, but then following that, we'll look at two recent cases. One in particular, believe it or not, involves the company behind Paddington Bear, which is quite an interesting set of facts, as you will see. And we'll look at what the courts have had to say about the application of the well-established rules to do with implication of terms as a matter of fact. We'll then go on to talk about good faith, another highly topical area. We will look at a couple of recent cases to do with the actual meaning of good faith and what sort of elements it comprises and so on. And we'll then go on to talk about how we interpret an express duty of good faith in a contract for the supply of seating for airlines. And we'll see about the interface between a termination provision and a good faith provision in that context. And then finally, to wrap this up, we'll look at a couple of exclusion and limitation clauses cases, and we'll look at the usual sorts of favourites in terms of issues around reasonableness and also issues around interpretation of the clauses. What sort of principles will the courts apply in regard to such matters?